I still remember the way she looked at the floor when she sat down in my chair. Not at me, not at the mirror, just down. It was a Tuesday afternoon, slow day. The kind where you start cleaning clippers that don't need cleaning just to feel productive. I'd been cutting hair for maybe 8 months at that point, still trying to prove I belonged in this shop, still comparing myself to the barbers who'd been doing this for decades. She walked in without an appointment. No phone call, just pushed the door open like she was forcing herself through it. "You available?" she asked. Her voice was quiet, flat. I nodded, gestured to my chair. She sat down, pulled her hood back. That's when I saw it. Her hair was uneven, choppy in places, like someone had cut it in the dark. Or like she had. There were sections that were too short, others that looked like they'd been ignored for months. I asked her what she wanted. She shrugged. Just fix it. Fix it. 2 words, but the weight behind them felt like so much more. I started working, tried to make small talk, asked about her day, the weather, and the usual stuff we say to fill the silence. She gave me 1-word answers. Fine. Yeah. Maybe. I stopped asking. Here's the thing about cutting hair. You're close to someone, closer than most people get in their daily lives. You're touching their head, their face, standing behind them while they stare at themselves in a mirror for 20, 30 minutes. There's an intimacy to it that people don't talk about. You notice things, the tension in their shoulders, the way they breathe, whether they're really looking at themselves or just staring through the glass. She wasn't looking at herself. Not once. I kept cutting, tried to focus on the technique, blending the uneven spots, reshaping what was there, making it clean. But my hands felt clumsy. I was thinking too much, worrying about whether I was good enough for this, whether I'd mess it up, whether she'd leave and never come back. Halfway through, I stopped, just for a second, took a breath, and I realized I wasn't nervous because I thought I'd fail. I was nervous because I cared, because something about the way she sat there so small in that chair made me want to do this right. Not just technically right, but right for her. I slowed down, stopped rushing, stopped trying to prove anything. I started paying attention to her, the way her hair naturally fell, the shape of her face. What would make her feel, I don't know, like herself again, or maybe like someone she wanted to be. I worked in silence. She sat in silence. When I finished, I turned the chair so she could see the back in the mirror. Standard routine. She glanced up for half a second, then looked down again. "It's fine," she said. "Thank you." She paid, left a small tip, walked out. I stood there feeling empty, like I'd failed some test I didn't even know I was taking. 3 weeks went by. I kept cutting hair, kept practicing, kept showing up. But something had shifted in me. I couldn't stop thinking about her, about that moment, about the fact that I'd done the job. I'd fixed her hair. But I hadn't reached her, and I started wondering, what was I even doing this for? When I first became a barber, I thought it was about the craft. The fades, the clean lines, the feeling of knowing I could shape something with my hands. I wanted to be respected. I wanted people to look at my work and think I was talented. But sitting in that empty chair on slow afternoons, I started asking myself a different question. Who was I trying to impress? Because the truth is, most of the clients who came in didn't care if my fade was perfect. They cared if they felt good when they left, if they felt seen, if, for 30 minutes, someone paid attention to them like they mattered. I'd been so focused on being a good barber that I forgot to be a good person. She came back 5 weeks later. Same time. Same quiet walk through the door. "You available?" she asked again. I was in the middle of a cut, but I told her I'd be done in 10 minutes. She sat in the waiting area, scrolling on her phone, hood still up. When she sat in my chair the second time, I didn't jump straight into cutting. I just asked, "How have you been?" She paused, looked at me in the mirror for the first time. "Better," she said, and I could hear it, just a little less weight in her voice. I smiled. Didn't push, didn't pry. We talked. Not about anything deep, just normal things. Her job, her dog, a show she was watching. She started to relax. Her shoulders dropped. She laughed once, just a small laugh, but it was there. I cut her hair the same way I did before. Technically, probably the exact same cut. But this time I wasn't thinking about me. I was thinking about her, about making sure she felt comfortable, safe. Like this chair, this moment, was hers. When I turned her around to see the back, she actually looked this time. "I like it," she said, and she smiled. Small, real. When she left, she didn't just say thank you. She said, "See you next time." That's when I got it. This job, it was never just about hair. It's about the single mom who comes in on her day off because it's the 1 hour she gets to herself. It's about the kid who sits in my chair nervous because he's going to his first dance. It's about the older man who doesn't say much but keeps coming back because he doesn't want to be alone. People don't just come here for a haircut. They come here to be seen. And if I'm too busy thinking about my technique, my reputation, my next post on Instagram, I miss them. I miss the whole point. I started changing after that. Not in big, dramatic ways, just small shifts. I stopped rushing, stopped overbooking, started leaving space between appointments so I could actually talk to people. I stopped treating every cut like a performance. Stopped trying to make every client into a portfolio piece. I started asking questions, real ones, and listening to the answers. I started noticing who came in alone, who looked tired, who needed to talk, who needed silence. I realized that the clients who tipped the most weren't always the ones with the best cuts. They were the ones who felt cared for. She became a regular, every 5-6 weeks, like clockwork. We'd talk about her week, her life, the little things. I got to watch her change. Not just her hair, though that got healthier, more confident. But her. She started looking at herself in the mirror, started smiling more, started telling me about things she was excited about instead of just getting through. One day, maybe 4 months in, she said something I'll never forget. "You know, I almost didn't come back that first time." I looked at her, confused. "Why not?" She hesitated. "I don't know. I just felt like I wasn't worth the effort, like it didn't matter what I looked like because I didn't matter." I stopped mid-cut, just stood there. "But you kept coming back," I said. She nodded. "Because you treated me like I did." I think about that a lot now. How easy it is to get caught up in what we're doing and forget who we're doing it for. I became a barber because I wanted to be good at something. I wanted a skill, a trade, something I could take pride in. And I still want all of that. But I learned something more important. Skill without heart is just mechanics. You can give someone the best haircut they've ever had and still leave them feeling empty if you treat them like a transaction. But you can give someone an average cut and change their whole day, maybe even their whole outlook, if you make them feel like they matter. Because they do. Every single person who walks through that door is carrying something. Stress, doubt, pain, hope. And for 20, 30 minutes, I get to be part of their life. I get to decide whether I'll add to their burden or lighten it. I've had clients who've told me about their divorce while I faded their hair. I've had kids cry in my chair because they were scared of the clippers. I've had men sit down and not say a word for the entire cut, then shake my hand on the way out like I'd given them something they needed. I've had women tell me they felt beautiful for the first time in years. Not because I'm some master barber, not because every cut I do is flawless, but because I stopped trying to be impressive and started trying to be present. Here's what I wish I could tell the version of me from that first Tuesday. You're going to meet people who need more than a haircut. And that's okay. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to see them. Listen to them. Treat them like they're worth your time. Because they are. And in doing that, you'll become better at this than any technique ever taught you. You'll learn that the best barbers aren't the ones with the most followers or the cleanest fades. They're the ones people trust. The ones people come back to. Not because of what they do to their hair, but because of how they make them feel. I still think about her sometimes. That client. The one who sat in my chair and stared at the floor. She moved out of state last year, came in one last time before she left. Told me she was starting over. New city, new job, new life. She looked different. Not just her hair, though it was styled, healthy, confident, but her whole presence. She looked at herself in the mirror the entire cut. Smiled. Talked about her plans like she believed in them. Before she left, she hugged me, thanked me, told me I'd helped her more than I knew. I didn't know what to say, so I just told her the truth. You helped me, too. 'Cause she did. She taught me that this job, it's not about me. It's about showing up for people, being consistent, being kind, paying attention to the details that matter, which aren't always the ones you can see. She taught me that sometimes the most important thing you can do is make someone feel like they're not invisible. If you're reading this and you're in a similar place, maybe you're a barber, maybe you're in a completely different field, I want you to hear this. Your work matters. Not because of what it produces, but because of who it touches. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the best. You just have to care. Genuinely, deeply care about the people in front of you. Because people can tell. They can tell when you're rushing, when you're distracted, when you're just going through the motions. But they can also tell when you see them, when you listen, when you treat them like they're the only person in the room. And that is what changes things. Not just for them, for you too. I'm not the same barber I was when she first walked in. I'm slower now, more intentional. I don't take as many clients as I used to. I leave space. I breathe. I've stopped chasing perfection and started chasing connection. And you know what? My work got better. Not because I'm more talented, but because I'm more human. Because I stopped treating people like projects and started treating them like people. So if there's anything I've learned from this, from her, from this craft, from all the people who've sat in my chair, it's this. Be present. Be kind. Pay attention, not just to the work, to the person. Because in the end, that's all any of us really want. To be seen, to be heard, to matter. And if you can give someone that, even for half an hour, you've done something beautiful. You've reminded them that they're worth it. And maybe, in the process, you'll remember that you are too.